Before the glory. In the history of boxing, there are champions who grow up surrounded by opportunities and others who grow up surrounded by scarcity. Claressa Shields belongs to the second group. She was born in Flint, Michigan, a place where future isn't promised, it's fought for. She didn't grow up surrounded by medals or elite trainers. She grew up amid lack, silence, and a reality that demanded toughness from an early age. So, she didn't learn to fight to be famous. She learned to fight to survive. And over time, she ended up becoming the best in the world. Between the ages of 5 and 9, she barely spoke. Silence was her refuge. Stuttering became the mark she carried outside the ring. But inside the ring, she didn't need words. There, only presence, instinct, and strength mattered. Many times she trained on an empty stomach, not out of discipline, but because someone else needed to eat first. Other times she fought injured, not because it didn't hurt, but because pain was never an excuse. It was part of the path. They told her boxing wasn't for women. Yet, over time, it became clear that no one, neither men nor women, had achieved what she was building. 3 divisions, 3 undisputed titles, and only one way to get there: by asserting herself. Claressa Shields didn't fight to be respected. She fought until respect became inevitable. She didn't fight for a place in history. She made history rewrite itself. This is the story of a woman who didn't wait for opportunities. She tore them out. A woman who turned hunger into discipline, silence into strength, and adversity into dominance. This is Rouge Mindset. The girl who learned to fight. Since the age of 5, Claressa's life wasn't childhood. It was survival. Her home was a place where fear became normal, where what happens to you isn't told, because speaking up meant either being believed or being crushed. And something happened to Claressa that marked her forever. Something that broke her inside. Something that taught her that in her own home, she wasn't safe. The harm came from someone inside her home, a partner from her mother who systematically abused her. And while that was happening, the world went on as if nothing was happening. Little by little, Claressa's voice faded. Stuttering showed up. And between 5 and 9 years old, she barely spoke. Because talking was dangerous. Talking was exposure, and silence was the only thing that kept her alive. At school, she was pointed at. They made fun of the way she talked. They made her feel small. At home, it was worse. Her father was in prison. Her mother was using substances. And the man who hurt her stayed close, like a shadow that doesn't go away. Claressa felt like her mother chose that man over her, and that feeling killed her inside for years. At 9, the threats became real. They told her they will kill her and her mother, so she went to live with her grandmother, Joanne. But poverty didn't leave her. There still wasn't food. There wasn't a bed. She slept on the floor, and many times, so that her siblings could eat, she stayed with nothing. But there, in the middle of it all, boxing appeared. It wasn't a passion, it was a reaction. The rage piled up. Aggression became natural, and the ring became the only place where she wasn't a victim. In the ring, nobody hit her for being different. In the ring, nobody looked at her like a broken child. In the ring, every punch was a response. And Claressa understood something that would change her life forever. If the world hits you, you can hit back. She wasn't seeking applause, she was seeking control. And when someone first respected her, not for her voice, but for her strength, something inside of her changed forever. Because when they force you to be silent and you still learn to fight, you stop being a prey and you become a predator. The first massacre. The very first time Claressa stepped into a ring was at a local tournament in Grand Rapids, Michigan, a place where girls didn't usually fight and even less usually win. Before that, her father had been in prison. Bo Shields, her father, went in when Claressa was 2 years old and came out when she was 9. That comeback was another battle. He wanted to make up for the lost time and at the same time try to control her life. When Claressa began training at 11, he was out. And that first night, he was in the stands. When she walked into the weigh-in, there was confusion. Short hair, baggy clothes, serious, silent posture. Many thought she was a boy. But what came next left no doubt. The bell rang and the quiet girl turned into a storm. Claressa didn't box with strategy. She attacked with everything she had. A flurry of constant punches. She didn't even seem to hear her coach. She just wanted to unleash everything she had held inside her for years. The fight lasted minutes. Her opponent ended up crying, and the referee stopped the fight to protect her. But Claressa didn't want to stop. She wanted to keep going because in the ring, nobody judged her for her voice, or for her clothes, or for growing up without a father, or for living with fear. In the ring, she decided. From the stands, her father watched her silently. The same man who had told her boxing wasn't for women. The same man who had been absent for years, and now he watched her demolish an opponent in seconds. That's when many people understood. Claressa wasn't a scared little girl. She was a fighter who had just been born, and even though her prize was a plastic trophy, she received something bigger. The respect of an entire gym. Breaking the system. Claressa Shields didn't have sponsors, no million-dollar contracts after the Olympic gold, no magazine covers, no promises. She had to choose between paying rent or eating. And yes, she considered selling her gold medal, the same one she won for her country at 17 years old in London. Because glory doesn't pay bills, and even less when you're a woman or when you come from Flint. Brands didn't call her, leagues didn't invest in her. Women's boxing was still a footnote. But Claressa did what she's done always: break everything. She kept fighting, and she trained with men weighing around 200 pounds, because if she could take those punches, no woman could ever scare her. And when the moment came to fight for the undisputed heavyweight title, she had a torn shoulder. She could have canceled, she could have made excuses. Instead, she said, "The people of Flint count on me. I can't let them down." And with a half-working arm, she won. Because Claressa doesn't fight for contracts or applause or acceptance. She fights to prove you don't need the system's backing, when you are capable of burning it down from the inside. The night she killed a myth. The fight wasn't announced as a match. It was announced as an event. Christina Hammer showed up as the perfect image of women's boxing. Blonde, elegant, technical, undefeated European champion, or as many call her, the Queen of Women's Boxing. And in the other corner was Claressa Shields from Flint, Michigan, with her blue braids, her strong voice, and a clear mission to knock idols off their pedestal. Showtime sold it as the biggest fight in women's boxing history, but what they were really selling was a public execution. Because when the bell rang, Claressa didn't enter to compete. She entered to destroy, to break a myth, and show that her hunger for success was worth more than Hammer's 24-0 record, and she did it without mercy. In round 8, she landed such a clean punch that Christina's mouthguard flew out into the air. Claressa looked at her, she smiled, she didn't say a word. No words were needed. That night, she didn't just unify the 4 belts in middleweight. She became the GOAT, the greatest woman of all time. And yes, she already used that nickname, but that night, the world began to believe it. After that fight, Hammer was never the same, and Claressa began to do something that very few boxers dare to do: clear out divisions. There was no one left, so Claressa moved up, moved down, chased titles wherever she needed to, because what she wanted wasn't just trophies, it was to end myths. The era of the GOAT. After destroying myths at middleweight, Claressa didn't stop. She transformed. First, she conquered super welterweight, then she moved up to heavyweight, and what seemed impossible, she made routine. Undisputed champion in 3 distinct divisions. No one else, man or woman, has done that in the history of boxing. Super welterweight, middleweight, heavyweight, 3 kingdoms, 1 queen. But she didn't stay in the ring. She made a leap very few dare to make.
I feel like I'm disciplined and I'm strong, so I just really want to test and see like how great I really am, because I'm already the greatest woman of all time in boxing. A lot of boxers have entered in from boxing to MMA, and they really weren't successful. But I feel like I'm different because I'm younger, I'm hungrier. I'm probably the only 2-time Olympic gold medalist in boxing to ever try to do MMA, and I just think that I'm just a different kind of animal. Like I'm really all about learning. I'm all about taking it step by step, and I'm not going to, I'm not going to do anything that I don't believe that I can be great in. So I think I can be great in. I just have to prepare. And that's something I've done all throughout my life. Prepare for boxing. Now I just have to prepare for MMA.
MMA. She debuted in 2021. She lost, she won, she bled, but don't think for a second that she quit. She came back again and again. In 2024, she became the first woman to fight professional MMA in Saudi Arabia, and she won. While others play it safe, Claressa risks, because for her, fighting is not just a sport. It's a declaration. In 2023, she was named Best Boxer of the Year at the SP Awards, surpassing icons like Canelo and Fury. And that same year, she was recognized as Sportswoman of the Year by the Women's Sports Foundation, an honor only legends receive. And as if it wasn't enough, she signed an historic $80 million contract for her fights, for her name, for her legacy. Hollywood also. The Fire Inside, her biographical film, became a critical and popular success. She negotiated her own story, and now she also co-promotes her fights under her own brand, because Claressa doesn't fight just for points. She fights for control, respect, and history. The roar that won't be silenced. Claressa Shields wasn't the product of a system. She was the result of a storm. Comfort didn't shape her. hunger, abuse, and rage did, and one unbreakable decision: not to be a victim. She walked into a sport that already had owners without asking for permission. She spoke loudly, she fought louder, and when they said, "Lower your voice," she turned it up. She was never the camera's favorite, not the darling of contracts, but she forced everyone to look. And while many hide behind the statistics, she shows what no one can deny: belts, gold, history, presence, dominance. Claressa Shields didn't fight just to win. She fought to open a path, and so the next little girl in Flint doesn't have to stay silent between ages 5 and 9. And so, no one ever says again that boxing isn't for women. Today, the ring is no longer just a place where boxing happens. It's where lives are transformed. And Claressa transformed it first with fists and then with purpose. This isn't a story of overcoming. This is a story of breaking, controlling, and leaving a legacy. A story where the fire doesn't go out, it just changes shape. If you are enjoying these videos, drop a like, a comment, and subscribe to our channel. This was Rouge Mindset.
People around you who gonna lift you up, because when you feel like trash and you feel like giving up, you need somebody there to tell you you're the greatest. You need somebody to tell you don't give up. You need somebody to tell you that you won't be stopped no matter who gets in your way, no matter what gets in your way, no matter how hungry you are. Guess what? You're gonna be great. You need somebody to tell you that. Because so when I hear people say, "Oh, you need to be humble," "Oh, no, I don't. I need to big myself up because I'm not where I want to be in my life yet. I'm not where I want to be in my career yet. And if you don't want to be a person around me who want to big me up, I suggest you take plenty of seats, because you're not going to stop me from being great. I'm always going to big myself up. And if you're around people that's constantly downing you, you need to tell them, I don't want to be around you because you're not making me feel good. And if you don't feel good, you don't look good. And if you don't look good, you don't eat good. You don't win. You need somebody around you to tell you how great you are, even when everybody is telling you that you done failed, that what you're doing is impossible, that you're crazy. You need somebody around you to tell you, hey, I think you a champ. I think you great at what you do. I think you the best. I don't know who can beat you. I don't know who a better business person than you. I don't know what person can close this deal but you. You need somebody to big you up like that.